Hello everybody, my name is Caleb, and today I'm going to be talking about cancer and the cure for cancer. Now, cancer is a worldwide epidemic. It kills a lot of people every year. Now, over the course of cancer existing, we've been researching for a cure. We have fundraisers, we have walks, we have wristbands. All this money piling in from the fundraisers, not to mention how much chemo and radiation makes the pharmaceutical industry. The FDA and the federal government believe it's necessary to have these fundraisers and continue chemo and radiation even though we have the cure. The problem is not cancer. It is the FDA and the federal government. We have the cure, and we still have fundraisers, walks, and all that other stuff. That's a really big problem. Since 1967, a man named Dr. Burzynski has had the cure for cancer, or at least he's had medical record and video documentation proof of him curing inoperable forms of cancer, brain cancer, spine cancer. Dr. Burzynski was in and out of court for over a decade with the FDA. The FDA was trying to put the man in prison. Now, that's the only time in history the FDA has ever prosecuted a doctor for pursuing FDA-approved clinical trials. Now, how much sense does that make? If Dr. Burzynski isn't harming anybody with his medicine and he's not breaking any laws, why would the FDA and the government spend over a decade trying to put him in jail?
I'd like the following questions to be asked the FDA. How much money have they spent in the last 10 years to try to put Dr. Burzynski out of business? How many documents can they subpoena, and how many more grand juries does he have to go to? And why can't patients who have advanced cancer seek the medical treatment of their choice?
I just have real trouble in knowing how much pain and what people go through with cancer. And since 1967, you've been saying, I can take care of that, and people are going, forget it, don't pay any attention, and you've gone outside the country and they say fine, and here we say no. Are we that backward, doctor?
Yes.
Well,
what do you mean? Yes. Are we that
backward? Yeah. It's really unfortunate that there's a big gap between people's pain and suffering and what the powers that be are willing to accept to give.
I understand this is hard to believe. The U.S. government hiding the cure for cancer sounds ridiculous. Now, what I'm going to show you next, here, let me step back. During the course of the decade of court dates that Dr. Burzynski went through, the FDA finally approved the clinical trials that Dr. Burzynski needed to get anti-neoplastons approved for everyone to use. Now, during the NCI clinical trials, they ended up going back and forth trying to agree on a protocol. What ended up happening was the NCI intentionally disobeyed the protocol. They diluted the medicine. They made sure that the medicine did not work so that they could discredit it and just push anti-neoplastons aside. Here's a comparison of the blood concentration levels found in the NCI clinical trials of anti-neoplastons compared to successful clinical trials done by Dr. Burzynski. Alright, so what needs to change? Well, the biggest problem right now is nobody knows about it. This happened how many years ago, and nobody is aware that we have the cure. I'm sure some of you have some kind of connection with somebody who has experienced cancer before. Now, what you can do, what we can all do, is share knowledge. Pass the video on, go on YouTube and look up Dr. Burzynski. There's a 2-hour documentary that you can watch and show friends and enlighten yourself to all of the unethical actions the government is doing.